I was driving my van the other day, and basically everything but the speedometer and clock stopped working on the dash. And I remember reading that there's a couple solders in here on the voltage regulator chip that need to be redone. So went through the effort of pulling everything and kind of noticed, you can tell someone's been in the dash before, and everything looked good. So I thought, oh, maybe the chip's bad. But in the end, I thought I'd double check the fuses. So fuse 3 is for the instrument panel and license lights. That was fine. And then fuse 16 is for the warning and indicator lights. And sure enough, I guess luckily, that fuse was blown. So I just popped in a spare fuse, and now, just to confirm, lights are back working, transmission indicator is working, fuel gauge is working, so I assume that's going to be good to go. Tachometer will work. So pretty happy. Nothing major, don't have to replace any parts, just a fuse, but still got the joy of pulling apart the instrument cluster to diagnose it all. But now I know if everything's dead, then probably the culprit's going to be the fuse. And I know they say, these connections kind of wear, so you get more of a flaky gauge where, gas gauge works or tachometer works and then it stops working. You hit a bump or something and it's working again. But in my case, everything was dead, so now I know that that's not the case. Where it would be this, it probably is the fuse that has blown. I just put in the instrument cluster back together, and I noticed in the ashtray there is a ton of these 15 amp fuses. I never noticed that before, so one of the previous owners must have had this happen enough, on this van at least, where they kept a bunch in there. So I'll know for next time. I just found it a lot easier to screw the cluster in first and then put in the cover, just because you get a lot better access to those screws before this kind of hinders that access. And I don't think you want to drop a screw down in there. That looks like a bad thing to happen.